So, authoring for amplification. I've talked a lot about this stuff, and I have a newsletter that I send out to the Listly user base every week, and somebody emailed back, how do you do that? And I went, what do you mean, how do you do what? And she was more interested in, well, look, you make this content, it looks great, but what tools do you use to make that stuff, and what's the process? So I was like, oh, okay, I'll explain. So, you know, I think one of the biggest things that I've found that I don't think you'll find unless you actually jump in and play the game and become a creator in a serious way is I learned that through using Listly, I get the experience, but you need to use multiple platforms to get that balance. So I benchmark, how does it feel to use SlideShare? How does it feel to use YouTube? How does it feel to use SoundCloud or Audio Boom, which I do use, or how does it feel to use whatever platform, right? They have different cultures, but you will only really experience the platform and the culture when you've created a body of work, and you will receive the benefits when you create a body of work. So I have, I don't know, 40 or 50 slide decks now, and every week I'll get a featured slide deck, or whatever's the one getting the lots of traffic, but I'll get like 300 views for all of those previous slides. I'm getting lots of exposure. You don't get that multiplication unless you create a body of work, right? You need to become competent in the platform, right? So I've learned the game of how to play making a great slide deck. I've learned the game how to make a great list. You know, each platform has its own culture. I haven't really nailed Vine yet, but I'm leaving that one to Nash Greer, I think, for the moment. So designing for reuse is basically the idea of like, create a piece of content with a wicked title and 3 sub-bullets. Think about a message tree, right? Big idea, 3 big sub-ideas. If your big ideas aren't worth sharing on their own, you've got the wrong big sub-ideas, right? Just shuffle stuff and make it so that you can share the whole idea and share the sub-ideas, because then you've got 4 times as much content to share. And you can measure your content, not just at the head level, but at the sub-level too, right? So, and then you've got armed with your hybrid media mindset, you can go, what media should I put this idea through, right? So you design, before you actually put pen to paper, I mean, text comes first, right? Unless you go to YouTube, you don't put in a video to search for another video, you put in text, right? So unless you tag it up, unless you put a sexy title, 27 ways to whatever, you won't get the same traffic if you don't use a great title. There's a book out there called Headline Hacks, which is totally awesome. It's a free email subscription to get it, but that will give you some brilliant ideas of how to write really cool titles. So thinking about your different media tools that you can use, I've just basically plotted this out and said, okay, here's the different parts of my idea. What should I do? Well, I'll plan an Instagram for each one. The quote, great image, I'll make that ready to share. What other media should I create with each piece? Should I blog this on my blog on our own media? Should I blog it on Medium? Should I blog it on LinkedIn Pulse? Wherever you want to send it, right? If you design that in mind, you can reach out to other bloggers who are going to embed your content at launch, right? Involve other people in your content. Write a blog post with 10 of you and have each of you embed it on your own blog. That's collaboration, creating content together with less effort. I think we focus too much on making perfect content rather than content that's actually socially engaging with lots of people involved. So just really taking this down to the details, create your PowerPoint, and this is the confusion here, right? I just use PowerPoint as an authoring tool. I could be using Illustrator, right? Or whatever you feel comfortable creating graphics and text in. There are many tools. Then create a custom-sized image to think about Twitter cards, right? Because if you put image with a quote and you make it the wrong shape, people won't see the text. That kind of defeats the purpose. So then create a 1-page for your wicked title, 1 page for each of your really big ideas. Put text over across of awesome images. I use Flickr because I can use Creative Commons images, and I'll always use my board game history taught me use other people's images because they care when they love to see their stuff. So tell them you included them, and then it's good, right? Go to someone like defont.com and use funky fonts. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, but give everything a look. I'm a bit of a dangerous weapon in that regard, so it's hard to tell. Export your images and then send that content off to all these different platforms. This will let your story free, and you can track it after that, and you see what goes, you see what works. You're going to experiment, learn, iterate. I was in yesterday a session by Martin Jones, and it was in this room, so it was videoed. If you didn't see this, I would strongly recommend watching that video. It was awesome. He's saying pretty much, reinforcing the stuff I'm saying. He went one step further. He's combining multiple components and planning 1 quarter ahead, and he's iterating and delivering one bundle of content in month 1, one bundle of content in month 2, one in month 3, and then ta-da! He combines them all together and releases an ebook. It's working really well for him. So he's following the same model, and I'm going to now be following his and cranking up my experiment to the next level.